My ex-husband crippled me in an accident for insurance money, so I made sure he'd never walk free again. David was the perfect husband, until my startup hit 7 figures. And I don't mean he got a little jealous. I mean he went from celebrating my success to resenting every dollar. He started with forced jokes during dinner parties like, must be nice being the trophy husband. Then he started forgetting to show up to my company events, and claimed he felt emasculated by all those CEOs. He even left his laptop open to articles about wealth inequality in marriages, and what to do when wives outlearn husbands. When he casually mentioned over breakfast that my life insurance was probably inadequate for my new net worth, something cold settled in my stomach. The accident started small, with cooking oil accidentally spilling on our marble stairs where I slipped and bruised my tailbone. My brake lines mysteriously leaked fluid the day before my big presentation. David mixed up my blood pressure meds with sleeping pills, nearly causing me to crash on the highway. He loosened the balcony railing where I like to drink coffee, catching me just as it gave way and saying, "Thank God I was there." The carbon monoxide detector in our bedroom stopped working after he fixed it, and then I woke up dizzy and vomiting while he claimed he felt fine. Between each incident, he'd nurse me tenderly, increase my insurance coverage, and take out disability policies, just in case, playing the devoted husband while documenting every injury for future claims. Then the accidents got bolder. Prescription overdoses he'd blame on my stress, food poisoning from meals only I ate, and near drownings in hotels where he'd conveniently be looking the other way. Each time I survived, his disappointment flashed across his face before the fake concern took over. But he was my husband. I was in love, and I trusted him a little too much. So whenever he'd tell me I was just paranoid, I believed him, until the final accident. David planned an anniversary trip and took us hiking. Then he insisted on us taking the cliff trail. Halfway up, I was exhausted when he pointed at something below us and said, "Honey, look at that view." I turned my head and leaned forward, which is when his hands touched my back. I knew the push was deliberate as soon as it happened, and I kept trying to grab at air, but the rock still crashed into my spine. Everything below my waist went cold, then numb, and then nothing. David's scream echoed in my ears. "Someone help! My wife slipped," but I wasn't falling for the act anymore. Even as the doctor said I'd never walk again and David lied about how he couldn't reach me, I was already thinking about how I'd pay for everything. Paralyzed but not powerless, I studied David like a lab rat, his weakness, his ego, and his grief. I let David manage my disability checks while I secretly recorded every diverted. I even hired a private investigator who found his mistress and joint account funded by my disabilities. Then I played broken and grateful, thanking him for not crying in his arms. I silently conspired with detectives about catching David in the act he'd have no way to. And 6 months later, when he suggested we should go back to that cliff trail for closure, that's when I made my move. His eyes lit up with dollar signs the moment I said yes. The morning of the hike, he was practically vibrating with anticipation, checking weather reports for fog, timing patrol routes, even practicing his devastated husband face in the bathroom. Wasn't at the cliff's edge was an ace with his tucked between rocks, investigators dressed as bird watchers, and my wire recording every as Dave pushed my baton to try. I said saw just his breathing quit as he positioning us to and he this accident. That's when it wasn't accident. His face went then original didn't say raise my the sick. Police emerged, get on the ground, flinched back. He dropped me and lunged while screaming about entrapment until it tackles first rock. He was still trying to talk his way out. "Why are you arresting me? I didn't do anything wrong. You can't prove anything." As they cuffed him, I held up my eye. Had recorded. He was talking about how he and his mistress would spend the insurance payout. As a last-ditch effort, he asked me, "Honey, you're my wife. I know you love me. Please, I never wanted to hurt you. Tell them that this is just a misunderstanding." I was so disgusted at his audacity that I spat in his open mouth, which finally shut him up. After he was arrested, his mistress gave him up in a heartbeat and confessed to everything in return for immunity. He ended up getting 25 to life, and I was awarded his entire bank account and property to make up for what he did. I used that money to help other women with disabilities get fair treatment in life, especially those who were the victims of their scumbag partners. I get a letter from David every few months asking for my forgiveness, but I usually just burn them without reading.